This year he'll select me for... Welcome, friend. Come, join our celebration on this glorious and special day. Today is the day that Lector Naril declares a new apprentice. I've improved my botanical knowledge and skills considerably since the selection day last year. I hope he sees how much I can help him in his work. The Everwound Wellspring, a wondrous oasis in this mechanical desert. Sotha Seal created the place, but the Lector made plants grow in the metallic soil. Once every year, he distributes food and chooses an apprentice. You should come with me and see. In the past, the wellspring was accessible to everyone. Lector Narl sealed the place and started the tradition of the annual harvest and apprentice selection.
So many people.
Oh no, so many hopefuls. The gears just have to align in my favor. They have to.
Faithful of Sotha Seal, you may enter to collect this year's harvest in a moment, but first, I shall name my new apprentice. Sherazar, the Everwound Wellspring welcomes you as its new apprentice. The rest of you, come in and claim your portion of the harvest.
Thank the great gear. Let's go inside.
Factotums will continue to gather the harvest and bring the containers here. In the meantime, use the lift and come see our oasis. I always share a few words of advice with the hopefuls that weren't selected before I take the new apprentice under my wing. The Everwound Wellspring provides excellent opportunities for the novice apostles. You must be one of the new arrivals I've heard so much about. Everything in the Clockwork City, the soil, the flora, the fauna, it's all composed of gears and pistons and metal. Because Sotha Seal set the wellspring in this metallic desert and blessed it with a reservoir of water. An exceedingly rare thing in the Clockwork City. He planned to create an oasis, but moved on to other projects before the task was done. We had water and a pressing need. It didn't take me long to figure out how to make actual living plants grow in this artificial soil. Now, come everyone, follow me into the viewing garden. My friends, the wellspring enjoyed a bountiful harvest. Let me show you how we accomplish our miracles. Simulated sunlight allows our trees to produce fruits sweeter than the orchards of Vardenfell. These pipes carry an alchemical solution that nourishes our plants. Factotums harvest the plants and pack them in special containers to keep them fresh before we distribute them to Clockwork City. We take clippings from the most robust plants to produce stronger varieties. Someday, we'll be able to grow plants outside these walls. Every season, we share our bounty and select a new apprentice from among the novice apostles. By the way, Where did my new apprentice wander off to? My new apprentice, Sherazar! Where did she disappear to? And have two novices wandering around the oasis unsupervised? Very well. Go find Sherazar and return to me with all due haste. That's a complicated subject, and one better left to the actual apprentices. Suffice it to say that the process involves water treated without... That would require an even more complicated answer. Suffice it to say that we use lenses, crystals, and a unique power source to create life-giving light similar to Nern's sun. But my program provides an opportunity to work outside the Clockwork Basilica. Lets them try their hand at something different. Besides, keeping the wellspring going requires...
This was supposed to be a special day, but it turned out all wrong. There's something... Sometimes a gear slips or a cylinder throws a piston. This place reminds me of that. Specifically, I saw my old friend Shirhari down one of the corridors. When I tried to go talk to her, the factotums blocked my path. They drove me off. That's the question, isn't it? And it's the reason I have a bad feeling all of a sudden. Why restrict where an apprentice can go? And why refuse to let me talk to Shirhari? It makes no sense. No, I'd rather speak to Shirhari. I know her. I trust her. Lector Naril? He's still a stranger to me. Will you help me get past the factotum so I can talk to my old friend?
Sherazar. Oh, this one purrs at the sight of you.
It's so good to see you too, Shirhari.
You shouldn't wander the wellspring unsupervised. It's dangerous. The factotums don't respond well to visitors they haven't been formulated to recognize. A new apprentice? Really? But what does Shirhari know of such things? This one works in the dark and grows fungi, molds, and mosses. The Lector keeps me too busy for other concerns. Shirhari doubts there's anything sinister going on, so the seal blessed the wellspring with water, and Lector Naril's alchemical solutions make it possible to grow plants. Apprentice? Sherazar is the first new apprentice to enter the wellspring in years. The Lector stopped selecting apprentices after poor Gathal's accident. At least, that's how this one understands things. I suppose Idrono might know differently. Idrono works with Shihari. He attempts to grow non-fungal plant life in harsh conditions. Since you're going to speak to him, could you bring along some of my mushrooms? But not... Idrono will be grateful for the fungi samples, even if he seems agitated. He gets that way during the harvest. No, only the Lector can do such things. But perhaps this one has the next best thing. My plaque of safe passage. As long as you carry it, the factotums should leave you alone. Take it. It won't stop fabricants, however. Shirhari will be fine. There is much to do right here, and the factotums are formulated to recognize.
Memory artifact registered. Cognitive maintenance required. Transitioning to detection state 7.
Shirahari says they're happy.
Dreaming. Pottery wheel. Faster. Surveying area. Result. No intruders detected.
New apprentice, if you can hear my voice, to the nearest speaking tube this instant. This is Lecter Naril talking to you through this speaking tube. I assume that you and Sherazar have been exploring the wellspring. We've built something impressive here, don't you think? Other apprentices? Oh, you mean Sherazar's predecessors, the ones selected during the past few harvests. About them, well, they've been dealing with a very special experiment. Utterly secret, you understand? Certainly. Just as soon as you report to me. I must complete Sherazar's orientation and training. Some parts of the wellspring can be extremely dangerous.
Those mushrooms look plump and delicious.
Can Dark Elves, Nords, and Arconians actually work together? If not...
A new apprentice? How curious. And are those samples of Shiahari's mushrooms? Excellent. I've been anxious to taste the new harvest. Text. Interesting question. As far as I know, no new apprentices have entered the wellspring since Garthel's accident. But I have a big... Of course. Lecter Narl tasked each of us with a different experiment. I'm attempting to grow plants without the benefit of the simulated sunlight. I haven't had any success so far, but someone has to tackle the difficult experiments, I suppose. Lecter Narl developed it using techniques he still refuses to share. The simulated sunlight provides nourishing energy that makes most of the plants we grow thrive. Not my plants, mind you. Oh, no, that would ruin the experiment. Oh, Towen's been with Lecter Narl the longest. She might know something more. You'll need to cross my garden to reach her. Just watch out for the blasted fabricants. They keep eating my plants and clogging up the gears. I just don't understand why my plants won't grow while Shihari and Otoan have no trouble making things bloom. It's an absolute annoyance. And so are those fabricants. Feel free to smash them to bits on your way through the garden. What's to tell? Gathal died. Happened in Lecter Narl's private workshop. We're not allowed in there anymore.
Detection array calibrating. Awareness
New apprentice, if you can hear my voice, step to the nearest speaking tube this instant. This is Lecter Naril talking to you through this speaking tube. I had such high hopes for you, Sherazar. Why do you defy me? I see. And does this have to do with the endeavors of the wellspring? I suppose I can't fault you for your initiative and willingness to get right to work. I just wish you would have waited before you presented yourselves to my other apprentices. Prohibited? That's a harsh word. No, we don't have any restrictions in the wellspring. But Sherazar will have a better understanding of how things work here once she returns to me and completes her entity. My workshop isn't restricted, it's just... private. You must see the necessity.
Interruptions are counterproductive. The seventh law of gears teaches us that. Well, since you've already distracted me, you might as well tell me what you want. Idrono. His experiment was doomed from the beginning. You can't grow plants without a source of nourishing light. My plants thrive thanks to the use of Lector Narel's simulated sun. That was the practice until Gathal died. Then the Lector sealed his private workshop and gave us these experiments to conduct while he perfected his simulated sunlight. It makes our annual harvest possible. If there were other apprentices, I'd know. I suppose Lector Naril could have more apprentices toiling in his private workshop. He keeps numerous secrets, so what's a few more? You can enter the workshop through the busted vent over there. Ignorance of his rules might grant you some leeway. Lector Naril's private workshop is restricted, but I don't expect you to find anything. If he catches you snooping around, feign ignorance and beg forgiveness. What's the worst he could do? I suppose. Lector Naril is one of the most respected clockwork apostles currently operating within Lord Set's great experiment. Every novice wants to become his apprentice, and every sentient in the Brass Fortress hopes to partake of his bountiful harvests. That's a long and complicated tale. The short form is that he was one of Sotha Seal's most trusted warrior scholars. When our great master abandoned the wellspring for other endeavors, Naril stepped in to fill the gap. He's been here ever. An unfortunate factotum accident happens occasionally. Sometimes the poor contraptions just get overheated and explode. That's why I prefer to work at a significant distance from the machines. Say, a good 30 paces or thereabouts.
I'm very disappointed, Sherazar. Shirhari's plaque of safe passage has been rendered inoperable. Now, return to me immediately.
Lector Naril's a clockwork apostle. He must keep meticulous notes. We need to examine them.
Combat sequences recalculating.
Into making the wellspring work. I wonder how they finally got the simulated sunlight to nourish the plants. simulated sunlight is the life force of the missing apprentices? That's horrible. We need to see what's inside Narvel's private workshop.
Reflecting. Searching area for hostile activity.
That machine! Is that the inductor? The apprentices! It sucked the life out of them! This is the Lecter's simulated sunlight inductor. And just as we read in his notes, he's using the life force of the most recent apprentices to power the device. So the Seal would never approve of this. Never in a million clicks of the Great Gear. No. If we leave, Lecter Narul will just use Shirhari or one of the others. We have to do something. We have to stop this madness. People shouldn't be turned into plant food. At least not while they're still healthy and vibrant.
So now you know the secret of the wellspring. You see your role in our grand plan. Time is short. The life force of the previous apprentices is nearly depleted.
Why do you resist? Your life force can feed thousands! You lash out because you fail to grasp the importance of what I do.
There's nothing to be done for these poor apprentices. The inductor has drained every drop of life from their bodies. But what of Lecter Naril? He cloaks his evil in good intentions. The Lecter lied. He tricked the apprentices and killed them. But the machine does allow the plants to grow and provides food for the Clockwork City. I wonder, what if someone willingly sacrificed themselves to feed the people? Yes, one life a season in exchange for a bountiful harvest. What could be more noble than sacrificing your life to feed the hungry? And I'll continue to work with the remaining apprentices.
How horrible! Those apostles, all dead?
Not just dead, drained of life to create the simulated sunlight.
Still, it's an amazing device. Lecter Narul's a true genius.
A genius? Look at this. Narul's insane.
Narul's dead, but the promise of the wellspring lives on.
You're not suggesting we continue to kill people?
We call for volunteers. Use their sacrifices while we continue to work on finding a different source of power.
How noble. I assume you won't be the one volunteering this time.
Sherazar has the right idea, and I offer myself as the first sacrifice.
Idrono, no!
It's only logical. I'm an apprentice whose experiments never worked out. Allow me to contribute in another way.
Very well. Let's go make the necessary preparations.
One death to avoid many. This one still doesn't like how this all turned out.
If you have anything to spare, I'd gladly take it off your hands. The Everwound Wellspring is the only place in all of Clockwork City where actual plants grow and blossom. Such kindness. If you...
Did you hear?
come inside. Cultists have knocked the stars from our sky, and we have to put them back before all Lord Set's memories are taken for good. Oh, drat. Look, it's easier to explain once we're inside the mnemonic planisphere. That's where Lord Set stores his memories by... Yes, exactly! You're a quick learner. I need someone who can fight off these cultists and help me return the stars to the planisphere. Quickly, follow me! The planisphere's right through this door. Astronomer! I found someone who can help us! Are you alright? Please, rest if you need it.
I have maintained these stars for millennia. Do not concern yourself.
Yes, much easier to explain now. This is the mnemonic planisphere, where Sotha-sealed memories take the form of stars. We need your help to reclaim the stars that have fallen and place them back in the sky. If not, all shall be lost. All this knowledge! Sotha-seal's memories are our most important source of inspiration, of discovery. Without them, the Clockwork Apostles will be lost, stagnant and unguided. Please, for the sake of our most sacred knowledge, you must help. Oh, thank you for understanding what this means to my order. I need you to gather the primary stars belonging to the points of our constellations. Once enough stars are returned to the rightful place, the rest should fall into ranks. Eventually. With this. Now, this device has a very fancy, proper name, but I simply call it the Star Scooper. Use it to gather the stars you see floating around the halls, and bring it back here to the astronomer. He'll know what...
should be fully operational within the week. Have you thought more on the super
Increasing visual clarity by 15%. Transition to detection state 12. Stand by.
They're living nightmares.
You've returned! Quickly now, give the Star Scooper to the astronomer. You're in for a real treat. Not many get to witness this. Oh dear, that's not good. That's not good at all. Sorry, but I have to go check on something. The astronomer will explain.
6 stars refuse to answer my call, and the primary constellations remain incomplete. Their instability threatens the integrity of the entire. The planisphere was created as an extension of Lord Set's consciousness. Connected, yet apart. Memories are fragile, easily broken, easily swayed. My powers of guidance and preservation are not so easily replicated. The cultists seek to control, but only corrupt. Go to the calibration guides located upon the platforms which surround us.
sphere is ours!
for you. A book, perhaps? Something to eat?
Try all you might. I'll just take the stars again. Right after take. Go around!
Let me just scoop them up. And now, watch this! Oh, right. They don't know where to go. If you can point out where they're supposed to be on the calibration guide, we can send them on their way. The stars have forgotten where they belong. Use the calibration guides on the floor to show them where to go. The matching constellation on the planetsphere's sky will show you the way. In the meantime, I'll continue to keep the stars stable. This is a rather tricky process. The stars are fragile things. Now, the Star Scooper kept a record of what was inside those stars. Let's have a look, shall we? A fragment in memory of Lord Set speaking to someone. This must have been what the Cultists were looking for.
Stewardship of my memories carries a high price, Orvas. One that you must pay willingly.
Wait, was that the astronomer? He was so young! And with hair! Not half bad looking either. The stars have forgotten where they belong. Use the calibration. stars have forgotten where they...
So be it. I'll leave you the knowledge of this spell to bestow upon your successor when the time comes.
Maybe the cultists want to learn how to perform the spell. Just a moment. Let me concentrate.
I understand. I'd sacrifice anything to serve you, my lord.
Sacrifice? Well, that doesn't sound very good. We've collected all the memory fragments we need. Let's head back to the Planisphere Center so we can watch the whole thing. Now that we've returned the stars and recovered the memory fragments, the astronomer can use the nemograph here to play the full memory back. I'm rather curious about its contents. We need to be able to reform memories at a moment's notice. After all, apostles often travel from the Brass Fortress to research Lord Set's thoughts. This nemograph translates the starlight into a visual form. I just know it's him. It looks like he's receiving some sort of boon from Lord Set. But I don't understand why that would be important to the cultists. I doubt you can easily replicate the powers of a god, even with the memory of the spell.
Stewardship of my memories carries a high price, all of us. One that you must pay willingly.
I understand. I'd sacrifice anything to serve you, my lord. Even my memory.
Wait, the sacrifice
So be it.
His memory?
I'll leave you the knowledge of this spell to bestow upon your successor when the time comes.
Of course, my lord, but will it hurt?
You will not remember.
No! It can't be!
Now you know the truth. It is time.
You never told me of this sacrifice. My life, yes, I'll give it. But my mind, my whole being...
Speak with her. Go to Amelie. Perhaps you will help her find the answer she seeks. Yes, I have no memories of my life before the planisphere, or why I agreed to become what I am. But I hold no regrets.
I know my duty. My whole life has been devoted to this path laid before me. I know the risks, the repercussions to the planisphere should I refuse, the repercussions to my god. Why then? Why am I so scared? Manipulating the stars requires severe concentration. They're easily corrupted by stray thoughts, rendering them useless. Not having a memory must help ease that burden. The excitement of becoming an apostle, my frustration when so many doubted me, how nervous I was for my first kiss. To give it all away, I would lose more than my memories. I would lose myself. I know the astronomer's power is fading. I feel it. He needs to transfer his power, and soon. If he dies before another apprentice could be found, the planisphere needs me. My god needs me. Can I really be so selfish? You're right. It's too late to turn back now. People depend on me. My god depends on me. Would you come with me? I may not remember you being there, but it would be a comfort all the same. I've decided. I will become the next astronomer. I give myself willingly to serve the chrononymic will as it has seen fit.
So be it. I'll start the process now. Take care of the planisphere. And yourself as well, Amelie. I can finally rest.
What was I... Oh, a visitor. The mnemonic planisphere welcomes you, traveler. Due to the recent attack, we are not holding memory viewings. You'll have to return at another time. How strange. I feel a sense of gratitude towards you, though I'm not sure why. Ah, so you have. You have the gratitude of the Clockwork Apostles. Now, if you'll excuse me, I must inspect the memories to see if they were damaged by the attack. You would be surprised how fragile they can be. I thank you once more for aiding us in our time of need. May your thoughts be clear and your heart ever oiled. I know we haven't met before, but I feel a sense of familiarity with you. Odd how you sometimes get that feeling with strangers. The cultists have corrupted many stars in their search for control. I need time to restore the memories and guide them to their proper place in the planisphere sky. Hopefully, it shall not take me too long. There's not much I can do at the moment. My focus must go towards tending to the corrupted stars and protecting the planisphere from further damage.
My functions permit me to assist all customers.
Come, have a drink with me.
Is this how It's wondrous, isn't it? Elegant, meticulous, timeless. I once took joy in studying the perfection of this realm, but now every revolution of the great gear only tightens the vice in my chest. Then may I impose on you as a fellow seeker. For all my learning, I can think of no escape from my predicament, save one. An experiment performed by one of my order, for Terere Heladrin was ahead of her time. It was fear that led to her expulsion, not reason. I see that now. Terere has been gone a very long time, but her ill-fated experiment created a persistent disorder in the grand schema. Its motions are chaotic, but not entirely unpredictable. Age, Seeker. Too many grains from the hourglass have gathered in this humble body. They've worn its workings so thin. We were some of Tamriel's best and brightest magi, invited to the Clockwork City by Sotha Sil to attend his experiments and learn from the greatest mind in creation. We believed she was meddling with forces that were solely the domain of the Clockwork God. A backward, emotional response one might expect from followers of a less enlightened deity. Terere's ambitious experiment resulted in a factotum going haywire.
Raynor, you let him walk all over you. There's a difference between cordial and compliant.
Sorry you had to hear that. Our family feuds aren't usually so dramatic. Raynor, that whole shadow business. I didn't like the way Raynor let that high elf artificer with a dwarven control rod up his arse order us around. Before I wounded his pride, we were planning to explore this marvelous machine world. He charged off to prove he didn't need my help, and we know how that's going to turn out. I'll let him cool off, but could you make sure he stays out of trouble? What I said to Raynor was pretty harsh, but he can be so infuriating. Look, there are so many intriguing possibilities, I'm not sure which one he tried to tackle. What is it?
Diagnostics complete. Response time within acceptable parameters. Core rotation initialized.
Hello there. Are you here in response to the bulletin about my factotum research? Fantastic. Now let me fill you in on the details. I found this factotum head in a junk pile, which isn't too uncommon. It gave a repeated message, requesting to find its integral of memory in the mnemonic planisphere. That's where you come in. I need an... The journey to the mnemonic planisphere is riddled with dangers, so it's best to prepare. Shouldn't be any issues once you head inside, though. My research leads me to... Would you believe that the Apostles don't know how to create factotums? That was a rhetorical question. The sad truth is that while we Apostles can create metal limbs and motors, we cannot replicate the intelligence so facile. Why does Lord Set do anything? He's the father of mysteries, after all. Firstly, I already know it is an older, simpler model. You can see the dwarven influences in the skull, an aesthetic blight by today's standards. Secondly, unlike other factotums, it openly speaks of its components. Trust me, I've interrogated many of these machines in the name of my research. Well, its voice. Factotums are genderless machines, of course, but they all sound distinctly female. This one is the first I've met to have a male voice.
By some words, I wind my gears. I am in need of my integral of memory. You can find it in Sector Grid Cube 3Z-A of the mnemonic planisphere.
Maintaining detection state 5. By the word of Set, I am bound. Reflecting. Reflecting. Information found. Sequence plaques. CCHW. Information restricted due to current citizen status. Please contact a local Clockwork Apostle representative. The Brass Fortress thanks you for your cooperation in this matter. All citizens are entitled to a reward for this service. By the word of Set, I am a factotum, a mechanized... Just a moment. Current inventory of 7th generation factor. Lord Set revises factotum source material and partition frames regularly.
And when a customer enters the store, what do we say?
Welcome, citizen.
Good. And when they ask how much something is, what do we say then?
Cease your actions, or you will be taken into custody.
Oh, Shaw's bones.
Lens rotation. Functions are documenting as in transitioning to detection state 12. Standby. On standby. Calculating patrol subroutines. Searching area for hostile entity. Detection array calibrating. Awareness rating 16. Dreaming. Storm clouds. Strongbox protocols engaged. Diagnostics complete. Response time within acceptable parameters.
Who are you? Give me one good reason why I shouldn't reduce you to dust where you stand. He what? No, absolutely not. That experiment cost me everything I held dear. The only thing I want is to put an end to Boland's misery. You want to make things right? Help me free his soul from its machine prison. Do that, and maybe, just maybe I'll be willing to entertain this insanity. Remove the Black Soul Gem from his factotum body and return it to me. He'll resist you, and as that machine, Boland is extremely dangerous. He nearly killed me during his last episode. In the meantime, I'll contact Sovor, my lover. When I was still an apostle, he was mortally wounded in an accident, beyond any hope of survival. But I couldn't accept that. I was enlightened, so I saved his life by transferring his spirit into a factotum. Boland's consciousness took over the factotum, but the experience changed him. He always had a wild, creative mind, and I confined it to a cold, rigid prison. That stifled existence was too much to bear. It drove him mad. More than certain. Every moment that he lingers in that mechanical shell is torture. For both of us. Just don't damage the Black Soul Gem. Boland's moods are unpredictable. In his rare lucid moments, I try to reach out to him. But no matter what I try, I only ever seem to get him worked up into a frenzy. Seeing him like that makes me wish I wouldn't blame him if he killed me. I don't know. I'd like nothing more than to smash it into 1,000 pieces. But there's no guarantee. Dust aside, the equipment is in good order. We just need the vessel, and we can begin.
Is that them? Have they returned? The world feels so heavy now.
This is dredging up so many unpleasant memories. Please tell me you've managed to show Boland some measure of peace. That's something, at least. I've agreed to attempt my experiment again with Sovar as my subject. He's promised to petition the Order to end my... The truth is, I need Sovar as much as he needs me. I think the only way I can safely extract Bolan's soul from the gem is to offer it something in exchange. Who knows if I'll ever have another willing subject? Can I count on your assistance? I'd like you close at hand in case Sovar has a similar reaction to the experiment as Bolan. Throw that switch when you're ready to begin the transfer. I'll keep watch on the equipment from here.
What are you waiting?
It's begun. Now would be the time to pray.
I have faith in your sustenance. Observe, learn, apply. Trust in his grand design.
Yes, it's sublime. This order.
Ifre, I can feel. Thank you. I can feel.
I think it worked. Please, please let it have worked.
I don't feel myself.
I can't breathe. All cogs drive the mechanism. Removing any one from the chain, no matter how small, results they will need to be convinced of many things. My authenticity, I have never been better. I may never be better. There is one place where my condition would not be considered unusual. The Asylum Sanctorium. The resident alienists there can best evaluate my psyche. Continue the quest for understanding.
Is it him? Is that really my Bolan, or just what's left? Will he hate me? Will he even recognize me? I know. It's better than not knowing. Always wondering, but... Thank you for ending this. I need a moment. Bolan? Is it you? Speak to me. I need to know it's still you, please.
Terrory, when did we get so old? It's time now, isn't it?
It is. You're free now. I'm sorry for all the pain I caused.
Enough tears, love. We're liable to rust. There. That's the smile.
Did you see? Bolan! It was him. He seemed whole again. Oh yes. He does seem to be coping well, or he's at least more sedate in his insanity. Don't worry. I'll keep watch over him. He'd been suffering for so long. I'm glad his passing was a peaceful one. I have to hope that wherever he finds to rest, he's the same beautiful soul I remember. I'd mostly accepted that there would be no end to my punishment. I don't know that I can believe all this might work out in the end. I'll be watchful, not hopeful, for a while yet. I will try. I haven't had much cause for celebration in a long time. Out of practice. Sovar seems convinced that the Clockwork Apostles need a mind like mine. I won't hold my breath waiting for them to agree. I'll keep in his company for a while, at least until I'm convinced he's stable. Maybe it's Sovar's faith in Sophaciel's wisdom, or his willingness or understanding of the transition, or maybe he's just better suited to it.
I am...
I thank you once more for aiding.
Wish me to go to this location, Lord Seal? I would be happy to.
Kirith doesn't appreciate my contributions to our partnership. She thinks I'd be lost without her. That's a generous offer, but I find your sudden arrival somewhat convenient. It's a fascinating place, isn't it? So much to see and learn. There are a number of locations I want to examine. I added them to your map. Same way as you, I imagine. We were looking for the ruins of Balm's Amshend beneath Mordor. She also thinks I'm stubborn, antisocial, and a pain in the nether regions. Devaith Fear offered to teleport us out of here when we're ready. So that's one option. I plan to find our own way out, though, just in case. Stern, physically intimidating. To be honest, she scares the scrib jelly out of me. Eventually. So Thasiel found her. resonant sphere. One of Sothasir's minor marvels. There! Did you hear it? The same tone that the central spire emits during the night cycle. Let me tell you what I discovered before we move on. Did you notice the perfect symmetry? The total roundness of the form? And the way it reacted to simple, magical impulses? Incredible! Applying magic to the sphere provoked an oral response. Perhaps Sothasir utilizes different frequencies of sound to perform his divine work. Tribunal doctrine strictly defines the consequences of questioning the methods and mechanisms of our living gods. The Apostle...
Maintaining detection state 5.
I have what I need. We're done here. I wonder how the lubricant winds up in the veil. Every time I answer one question, 3 more appear to take its place. I'm glad you asked. I surmise that a correlation exists between the lubricant and the dead organic matter inevitably created in the Clockwork City. But the fabricants consist of both flesh and machine. And so do the Apostles. Well...
Excess corrosion detected. Maintenance required.
I saw this from a distance and was instantly intrigued. There's no rhyme or reason to its function, at least none that I can ascertain. Maybe one day I can... What a magnificent monolith! I wonder if the workings extend into the subterranean. That's what I've been pondering since making my meticulous inspection of the site. It's a conundrum. Kirith uses intuition and leaps of logic instead of sound deductive reasoning. We need to go back so I can tell Kirith. Damn. I can't believe it. It does, doesn't it? I'm not sure how to proceed. The complexities of social interaction are Kirith's speciality, not mine. She's my sister and we're a team. We work well together, but she did use some harsh, hurtful words. What? You're right. We just proved that I can be a successful explorer on my own.